I want to first start out and congratulate not only Greg Joseph on the Special Teams Player of the Week award, well deserved after the 61-yard game winner, but also really cool Kirk Cousins with the Bart Starr Award. Really special award that means a lot, and I know it means a lot to Kirk, and he's very well deserving of that award and what he means to this community and organization, and what both him and Julie do, for this community off the field, and what he's meant to this organization here in our locker room in our building. So very, very, very cool to see Kirk win that award, and just wanted to make sure I started out with that. We've activated Ty Chandler to the roster, as well as opened up Irv Smith's 21-day window, so he'll get to start officially practicing with us today, which I'm really excited about. He's worked really hard to get back, so it'll be cool to see kind of what both those guys can do and the type of impact they can have here down the stretch and on into into the playoffs. What an opportunity for our team this week, playing a team that's playing really good football right now, going to Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers late in the year, almost January here, when they're playing really well. It's going to be a heck of a challenge for our team. We just got to continue to focus on doing the things that we can do, control what we can control with our preparation, and be ready to have a very, very competitive game up there on Sunday. So appreciate you guys coming out, and I'll turn it over to you guys.
What's been the biggest difference between what you did week one when you guys handled them to now where they're looking, they're rolling pretty good?
Yeah, I think every game is kind of its own story, how things go, the momentum of games, and we've certainly experienced that throughout all of our one-score wins, that it's hard to win in this league, so we know the challenge that it'll be. But I can tell you, just looking at them on tape, they're getting turnovers defensively. They're getting the football. I think has been real dynamic with their ability to take it away when it's in the air, and then also just when they're tackling, raking at the ball, getting the football out. We've got to be great with the ball in our hands when we have it. And then they're running the football, and of course Aaron's making a lot of plays, and you can really see their passing game coming to life, both on schedule and off schedule. So going to be a heck of a challenge. They're always so tough to play, at Lambeau Field, and we got to play a really good game to be competitive and give ourselves a chance to win.
Is that the kind of thing where it's a wait and see how he does in practice, or are you fairly confident at the end of it that he'll be able to come back and play?
Yeah, I think so, but that's why I do like how it's set up with the 21-day window, and guys can really work themselves back in, and really it'll just be a daily eval of how he's feeling post, what kind of workload he gets, and we'll build him up from there.
You lose Irv and then go get TJ. How vital is that spot to what you want to do on offense?
It's a vital spot. The tight end position, has proven to be very beneficial to have guys like TJ and Irv in there, because they can be activated in the pass game in a way, especially how we get defended with Justin and Adam and KJ and our backs being involved. That tight end position can be a real value. And then you start talking about maybe having, a couple of those guys on the field at the same time, maybe with CJ or maybe even with Johnny in 3 tight end groupings. You can really throw a lot of different things at a defense and make them have to match your personnel to stop the run, and then how can you manipulate it from there, to throw it and gain advantages. So I think it's great for our team. The depth we have at that position with Irv coming back and TJ's really emerging since we got him will be huge for us.
You guys made that trade. I think Kwesi said that you guys had kind of had some discussions about tight ends, and you had taught him a lot about the position. Did you kind of have to open his eyes a little bit to what a really good dynamic tight end can do in an offense? And I just
think the position has just changed so much in a way where those guys' ability to line up in a lot of different spaces in your offensive formation, gain some intel on what you may be getting defensively, and then when the ball snapped, just by the sheer, and we saw it the other day with TJ, him going up and getting that ball, by no means was it a perfect play call, by no means was it the perfect execution, but his size and his ability to go up and get that football in a contested environment was just a huge play at that time in the game. And then you start talking about being able to work the underneath zones and possibly getting, if people are going to play split safety, possibly getting linebackers matched up on them where you feel like you can have an advantage. And I think you have to have the guys that can handle a lot in that room, and then after all that, you start talking about the run game and their impact on those edges and how they can be a 3-down type of player, and we feel like we've got a few of those guys here.
Kevin, Kirk Cousins has an NFL record 8 fourth-quarter comebacks. I know it's a team-type deal coming back, but what attributes do you see in Cousins that makes him such a good comeback-type quarterback?
Yeah, all his physical attributes of throwing the football give him an opportunity to make some special throws in those gotta-have-it moments where ball location and timing and rhythm are paramount for you to have a chance to have success in those critical moments. But I think it's more than that with Kirk. You know, his willingness to trust his teammates and combine that with great pocket movement, toughness to stand in there, understanding kind of the risk-reward of the moment and being able to meet that moment and make the play, I think is what defines quarterbacks that can thrive in those moments. And we would not be nearly, where we are as a 12-3 football team without him being able to do that.
You mentioned Monday, the run-pass balance. I think your quote was that could kind of help the offensive philosophy come to life a little bit more. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I just think it all starts with your ability to run the football and then marry the run and the pass. It makes it hard to defend if you can establish that run game, win some of those matchups on the line of scrimmage. And we've got good backs that with Dalvin and Alexander that when we can get those guys in the flow and in the rhythm of, getting some space and getting going, it can equal a lot of really good things for our offense. And then we do have the ability to marry a lot of things that start out looking the same but end up being hard to defend because they're different, and run, pass, different types of runs, screens, play pass, getting Kirk on the perimeter. So a lot of it, equals you're probably efficient if you're able to do those things, and then the down and distance dictate calling anything on the call sheet at that point, not having to play from behind the chains is really what it ultimately means. And then it allows those guys up front to really set their pads and try to be physical against a really good front.
How do you look at kind of the starting right cornerback spot? You're going to stick with Duke for a while because he's playing well? You're going to ease Gansler back in, and how's his health doing?
Yeah, I think Duke's played really well. I also think Cam's done some good things this year. So as we get Cam healthy and get him back rolling and give him some practices under his belt where he can feel good, I just feel good about the depth at that spot now. And at times we've been tested there this year, with the Caleb and Booth going down at different times and really having the guys that have taken significant reps to prepare for games, not be available for some of those games or go out mid-game. We feel a little bit less stressed knowing that we can get both of those guys a lot of work, and you're going to need everybody on your roster as we push forward. So we'll let that thing play out.
When you talk about using the bigger personnel packages, 12, 13, coming from an offense in LA that used almost exclusively 11, was that
Yep.
something you had planned on at the beginning of the season, or sort of let it play out with the personnel?
Yeah, I think we've always planned on. That's one of the tools that you have as an offense is you get to decide what personnel you put on the field, and then the defense. Then it's kind of the initial phase of being able to try to dictate in some ways because you can put whoever you want out there on the field, and they get a chance to match that or maybe not match it. And play with more DBs or less DBs, whatever it is. So I think it's all personnel driven. It's the same reason why we like to make sure CJ has a major role in the game plan each and every week to go along with our tight ends, just because the versatility of being able to do a lot of different things while still maintaining Justin and Adam and Dalvin and Alexander. I think it gives you some versatility in the run and pass game to make sure that you're running good, clean plays, regardless of kind of what you're seeing defensively.
Did you have an influence? Sorry, Ben. Did you have an influence of that, like using it in the past, like somewhere where you played or coached, using the bigger personnel packages?
Yeah, I think it's all. I can think back to teams I played on, other teams I coached on. And when I was in Washington, even going back when I was coaching Kirk there, having guys like Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed, and then still having a third tight end like Niles Paul, and being able to put those three guys out there all with pass game value and some efficient ability in the run game that allows you to do a little bit of both. I think those times are, when you have that personnel, it just is a tool in your toolbox to be able to use and really figure out what's the best way to win this game this week. And maybe, it's easy to look at things totality of so much 11 personnel or so much of this personnel or that. But in the end, it's what it's going to take to beat this defense this week. And then that next Monday morning, you figure it all out again.
Kevin, how
much of that stuck out to you when you took the job, I guess, of fullbacks, tight ends, bigger personnel on the roster as you inherited it?
Yeah, I think it was huge to just know it's easy to get excited about coaching Justin and Kirk and Dalvin and the rest of our skill guys, but when you think about tight ends and backs and just the versatility and flexibility it gives you as a play caller, not only just in the situations that sometimes warrant it, like short yardage or goal line, but 1st and 10, starting a drive, throw it out there and see what you're going to get defensively, and then allow your guys to try to find an advantage with angles and leverage and things from there in the run game, and then matchups in the pass game for sure. Definitely something I thought about.
I think earlier when you talked about Brian O'Neill and his importance,
Yep.
Just how reliable has he been all year, and how impressive has he been?
Yeah, just incredibly consistent. I don't think Brian gets enough credit as far as his just consistency of playing a really tough position each and every Sunday. Both him and CD have had really good years playing for us in a new offense, and although some people might just think it's all the same for alignment sometimes, but we do ask those guys to hit different kinds of blocks, work in different kind of combinations, and then in the pass game, how we're teaching technique and fundamentals and putting a lot on their plate. Knowing you sometimes want to be able to move that hard down around when you have the confidence in your tackles to do some of the things we ask them to do. It allows you to kind of be more successful moving that hard down around with the challenges you face every week. But Brian's done a tremendous job for us, and really, really thankful we have him.
Stu, how important was beating the Packers in your first game here, just to get things going in the right direction for you?
Yeah, I think it was important. Just a divisional team that has had a ton of success in our division for a long time, and still a lot of the the same players and coaches that have been able to establish that up there. It was important for us, and more importantly, it was just important to come out, and it was the culmination of a lot of prep and hard work to build a new offense, new defense, special teams, and you saw the confidence in our guys. Even in that first half, we score on the opening drive, and then the defense is flying around. You really saw the purest form of our team in its initial stages. I look back on that tape, and there's a lot of things we didn't do all that well. There's things we could have improved on, fundamentals, technique, detail, but the urgency and the confidence you could see in a team might have been kind of planting that seed to try to go win games regardless of one score or not, just giving you the confidence that you can do it as a group and build on it, more importantly. But I do think it's a great question. I do think it was important.
You mentioned after the game Sunday, you said your wife tells you it's never bad to tell somebody that you love them. How much is that, I guess, part of the philosophy or something that you've thought about in terms of just telling guys, hey, I appreciate you, I enjoy coaching you? How much does that factor into?
Yeah, I just genuinely think it's the right way to go about not only coaching and playing in this league. It's hard, but really, it's just how I like to live my life. And if you're going to be in a role where you're going to ask people to follow you, you better you better darn well let them know that you care about them. And it takes time. It takes relationships. It takes building it up. It's all those little times throughout the spring and the summer when you're trying to do that in a short amount of time, and maybe more importantly, make it authentic and real. You can't take anything for granted when we get time to work together, officially in practices and walkthroughs, but also the different times throughout the day in our buildings and meeting rooms where you get interactions with our players. I think Kwesi and his group have put together a roster of guys that love football, guys that love being around each other, and then with that mix, and hopefully our coaches doing a good job connecting with our guys, we've built it in the right way to kind of sustain throughout this season. It feels like that to me, but ultimately we're going to be tested time and time again, and we've got to hold up.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be back out at 2 o'clock.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.